if I was gonna blow up, that was it. Because I felt trapped. I didn't know how to get out.
Yeah.
I think I wanted out at the time,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the Lord certainly wasn't releasing me to get out, and so I felt stuck.
Yeah.
And what I came out of that season with is that the banner over my life and the goal of my life needs to be my heart fully alive in Jesus Christ.
Yeah. What is up, everyone? We are back with another episode of Shaping the Culture. Now, let's just get to it. The whole secular sacred divide. There is no distinction in the scriptures. Some of us have trust issues with God, and some of us, it's like, does God really got us? You can't engage the culture with the gospel that first has not engaged you. Like, you know how people are like, oh, that's just who I am. Nah.
Keep. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
Shaping the code. I've got to ask this question. I started following you. I learned about you when I was a freshman in college. So this is like 2010. This is a while ago.
This has happened to me all the time now. I started listening to you when I was 14, like 30 now. I'm like, wait, how old am I? Like doing the math. I'm like, how come I'm not Papa Chandler all of a sudden?
You've been around.
I know, and I feel it.
Yeah, so you were around my whole college career.
Come on.
When I became a youth pastor, you're the guy I was listening to. I was reading your books, when I became, a church planter. And I mean, just the last, 10, 14, 15. Wow.
See, that's how it happens.
Oh, my goodness.
And here's what's crazy. You'll be shocked at how soon you're the nearly 50-year-old where some young man's just like, hey, man, I started listening to your stuff when I was like in middle school.
It's
bro.
crazy. Yeah.
And
it's wild.
It is.
And 10, 15 years have passed by and you're still here.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do you still pastor, but you still love the Lord.
Oh, man.
And I'm just intrigued. Like, we were talking about off air, this idea of finishing well, finishing strong. What has been the secret for your longevity? I know friendship has played an integral part, but
that group of guys is, just one of the best gifts that God gave me in regards to longevity. But I also think I had I went into a bit of a spiritual crisis probably right around a decade ago. And everything that was working before then stopped working. And the only way I know to describe it is I started developing this low-grade agitation, and I couldn't figure out the source of it. It wasn't tied to numbers at the church. It wasn't tied to sex with my wife. It wasn't tied to success or failure. It was just humming. And so I started to get worried about myself. I mean, some of the guys that I were running with, I disqualified. And I was like, oh my gosh, does anybody make it? Does anybody get to the other side?
Yeah.
So I went and saw a guy in Nashville that a friend of mine recommended. And he reoriented me around some things. And it was in that season that, when you're young, a lot of what you're doing is like skill acquisition.
Yeah.
You're like trying to be the best preacher you can be, the best leader you can be, the best. And this guy was able to lead me in a direction where I could see myself more clearly. We did some family of origin work that I desperately needed to do.
Yeah.
And then the framework that I came out of after that, which I was like, if I was gonna blow up, that was it. Because I felt trapped. I didn't know how to get out.
Yeah.
I think I wanted out at the time, but the Lord certainly wasn't releasing me to get out, and so I felt stuck.
Yeah.
And what I came out of that season with is that the banner over my life and the goal of my life needs to be my heart fully alive in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I am not the best preacher, husband, dad, friend, leader when I have the best practices. There's nothing wrong with best practices.
Wow.
I think you should learn them.
Yeah.
But I am the best version of me possible when my heart's fully alive in Jesus. So how do I, as best I can in a given season, organize my life around that singular goal?
Yeah.
What replenishes my soul in Jesus?
Yeah.
What awakens and quickens my heart to delight in Him and rejoice in Him?
Wow.
Now let me fill my life with that, and let me start moving away from these things that rob me of that affection. So I've been telling everybody for years, like, find the things that stir your affections for Jesus and fill your life with them. And yet somehow that hadn't moved into like my leadership, preaching, skill acquisition, kind of achiever mindset. It was the achievement I was looking for wasn't necessarily my heart more fully alive in Jesus, but actually like, how do I, get this sermon series done in time to get to Com so that Com can, do the bumper video and, get the graphic for it and so I was stuck in skill acquisition and forgot, actually, no, what? So I came back and started reorganizing my life in some ways. So once a quarter now, I take 4 days. And the elders have generously gone, that's not paid time off. That's not vacation. That's part of your job.
Wow.
So for 4 days, I go out. Lauren and I bought this little river cabin out on the Brazos, like 2 hours from here, 90 acres, middle of nowhere. And I'll go out there for 4 days, just fast, pray, nap, sleep, go for long walks with the Lord. And my only goal out there is to stop and commune with the Lord. I'm not working on sermon stuff out there. I'm not working on initiatives. I'm pushing from my mind. We should do this or we should. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Thank you, Lord. I'm here for you. I just want you. And,
wow, it's beautiful.
And then I've started trying to honor Friday as a day off. I mean, I get the real push to have a Sabbath and to honor the Sabbath. And I mean, are we working the other 6 days in our culture? It's funny, we're like all pushing the Sabbath, and you have Sabbath and then these 2 days off. And so I'm just trying to kind of weave into my daily rhythms.
That's good.
Reconnecting with Jesus. And really the goal of today for me is how do I just continue to stir up as best I can affection for Jesus in my life. And because that's like what lets me be fully present here with you is my delight in Him.
That's good.
And so I've got a full day, but I'm not already in what I have next. I'm here with you. And now that's a concept I knew about, but it took me learning to reorder the goal of my day, the goal of my week, the goal of this month. Is my heart fully alive in Him? So that forces me to get to know my own heart. What replenishes my soul? What is it that stirs my affections for Jesus? What do I need to look at, marvel at, consider, meditate on that fuels that? And so what's funny is even, a guy that has my God-given status, I don't know a lot of those guys that go hang out with a 98-year-old woman widow, 98-year-old widow. Or, go to the hospital Saturday night after services to sit with a family that just lost, tragically and unexpectedly a loved one. And then went over, Sunday afternoon and sat with the family a little bit longer. But I'm in it for that, man. I love that stuff. But I know there are guys that are really extraordinary preachers who are very much introverts, and that would steal their soul. They would be exhausted. But that stuff's really life-giving to me. I want that stuff. And so to order my life around those things, because those things are the things like my 4 Ps. Every one of those things. Stirs and fuels. I'm like, what? I get to study the Bible and pray.
That's right.
That's what I get to. I get to do that. I just get to commune with Jesus, try to unlock Jonah. I mean, all that stuff, man, just really. And I think it's important, especially if a young leader's watching this. I didn't have that at 28. I didn't have that at 35.
Because I'm over here. How do I get there?
No, well, but you can start moving in that direction as you grow in awareness.
That's good.
And I have not. And I would add, you probably need to include your elders on that journey. And move them with you in that. And not show up with hey, I need 4 days because the way that started for me is I had 1 day a month. It was just called the day. It was usually on a Thursday. My calendar would be blocked. We didn't have the property out there. I was broke, bro, early years of ministry. So I would get in my car and I would drive up about an hour and 20 minutes north of here. There's a place called Falls Creek, Oklahoma. There's actually a waterfall. Like parts of Oklahoma are really beautiful. I know a lot of people don't know that. But there's this little state park there, giant waterfall, a lot of hiking trails. I take my journal and my Bible, and I would just walk around and pray, and that's how it started. 1 day a month on a Thursday near the end of the week, sermon stuff done, usually, not always.
Yeah.
And I would just go be with the Lord that day.
Yeah.
It was a
Beautiful.
different reality in regards to phones and services and all that. No, there wasn't anything to scroll back then.
Yeah.
But that's how it started for me.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
one day. And then that one day grew into, you know, it might be cool to try a week. Or try 3 or 4 days, and so that's how it grew over time. But if you're inviting your elders on that journey with you, then you could start moving towards that. I know very few guys that are your age that have that. Like I said, 22 years. That's how long I've been here.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, but you can be building towards it, and you can do things like it that aren't as costly in regards to time.
Right.
Because I've got, you know, a massive staff, and I'm guessing you don't.
No, not at all.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
but
right.
I was there once. You know, I was
Yeah.
setting up the chairs in the room and trying to, you know, get everything ready and doing all sorts of things that were well outside of my gift set that were life sucking to me, but had to get done.
Yeah, that's right. You just have to get
Yeah,
done.
and it would be probably too early for you to hand those off.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But you'll appreciate
Embracing
the
season.
people. Yeah, you'll so appreciate the people who do that after you hand it off.
That's right.
I mean, you'll just be like, gosh, I'm glad Channing Rothwell's here. I'm so grateful for her because you're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. No, that's good.